You're kind of in it or you're kind of out of it, and that's all that's there is on off.
Okay, so Raoul Pal spends a lot of time studying the future. Let's dive into exactly what he just said and what it means for your bags.
The technologists in a coup have taken over the White House. So we have Elon Musk, David Sachs, everybody from Vivek to JD Vance to Mark Andreessen, and they're all part of this administration, either in the front door or through the back door, right? So we're about to hyper accelerate here.
So technologists have taken over the White House. What technology are they pushing? White House crypto czar David Sachs says first priority is stablecoin legislation. So they're going to want to bring trillions of dollars of stablecoins on chain, on top of Solana, on top of Ethereum, on top of these public blockchains. And a lot of these other early stage blockchains are going to accrue a lot of the world's value. That's what they're talking about with stablecoin legislation. Crypto czar David Sachs eyes stablecoin regulation to bolster US dollars global influence. So what stablecoins do is provide massive liquidity and access to US dollars to anyone with a smartphone. So it causes huge demand for these stablecoins. What do stablecoin assets like Tether do? They buy US treasuries. Crypto czar David Sachs sees stablecoins creating trillions in demand for treasuries. This is how the most powerful people on the planet are building the future on top of blockchains. They want tens of trillions of dollars worth of stablecoins because those stablecoin assets are going to be buying up US debt. This is three-dimensional chess they're playing, and blockchain is the tool they are using, right? That is massive for these layer one blockchains and for the digital infrastructure like Chainlink. Because again, trillions of dollars of the world's value is going to be flooding onto these assets. That is the future that is being built before our very eyes. That is the future Raoul Pal is talking about when he's saying technologists have taken over the White House. Trump orders administration to evaluate potential for a national digital asset stockpile. That is enormous for the US-based crypto assets like Chainlink.
And what we're seeing with AI, again, I did not believe this. Last year, beginning of the year, when you measure IQ, which is not a perfect way of looking at it, but the IQ of the OpenAI model at the time was 90. It finished the year at 157. Okay, so we are now very high. Yeah. So if we are assuming we will double pretty much every year, by next year, it will be more intelligent than any human who's ever lived. Then after that, you're starting to get to more intelligent than all humans added together, which is where you start to get to with ASI. Yeah. So this is where we're starting to see, there's a model called Deep Research that was launched by OpenAI yesterday. It's a research agent. You put in a simple prompt like, write to me as if it's a Harvard PhD paper on the importance of the business cycle and how it plays into game theory. Something like a small prompt. It will do you a 10,000 word PhD with all of its references in 20 seconds. Okay, so we're now headed into a world where knowledge is starting to become like water. It becomes free. That flywheel is going to keep happening. So we've turned one of the scarcest things to it's all going to zero. It's a civilization level disruption to how things work. Doesn't mean it's in a civilization. It just means we've got a very fast, biggest change we've ever had in humanity. We will not be the apex intelligence within 2 years, 1 year.
And so in the future, he's describing where every single industry is totally disrupted. The value of human capital goes down. What we own becomes so important, right? Because in industrial revolutions like this, where we get a step change up in technology, we want to be the factory owners, not the factory workers. The people that own the most valuable technology on the planet become the world's future billionaires. Jeff Bezos owned Amazon. That's e-commerce. That's also cloud computing. Bill Gates owns Microsoft. That's Windows. That's cloud computing. Google owns Google, right? All these assets gave life-changing returns to their investors. And so in a world where humanity becomes addicted to infinite intelligence, what becomes valuable? Well, remember, artificial intelligence lives in a digital world. And so AI is going to bring massive value to the digital world. And so, yes, there will be an abundance of digitally produced entertainment, of digitally produced software applications, of digital junk. And so in a world where the world's value moves even further into the digital spectrum, what becomes valuable? Digital scarcity, the rails, the infrastructure that powers this industrial revolution, this new digital world, this new matrix. And so Chainlink is partnering with the world's most important organizations like SWIFT, like the DTCC, like the biggest asset managers on the planet, to provide security and to provide data streams and to provide an interoperable transaction layer to massive organizations like Vodafone and the world's biggest blockchains like Ethereum. So we cover that all the time. Chainlink is the glue that's going to hold this future financial system together. That is what the world's most influential, powerful organizations are building. That's the future they're designing. It's all on Chainlink. That is the SWIFT network, which represents 11,000 banks doing that, right? So Chainlink plays a massive role. That's digital infrastructure. AI in the world that's being created now is going to be secured by Chainlink data feeds. And if you don't believe me, just look at the massive growth of Chainlink we're already seeing. This isn't a video about Chainlink. We cover Chainlink all the time, but obviously it's already securing trillions of dollars of the world's value. And because of its massive partnerships, it's set up to secure quadrillions of dollars of value. That's one asset that's going to benefit from this massively. Another asset that will benefit from this massively is Tau. This is Barry Silbert, who runs the world's largest Bitcoin mining pool, and also Grayscale, which is an enormous company in this space. He's a multi-billionaire from being early to Bitcoin. And what he thinks is Bittensor Tau is going to eat the AI world. We are on the threshold of another transformative shift, decentralized AI. For Digital Currency Group, I wrote below about the evolution of the digital ownership of assets to the decentralized ownership of intelligence, and Bittensor as the world wide web of AI. Similar to Bitcoin, Bittensor Tau is open, transparent, and community driven. And as we learned from Bitcoin, early revolutions look complicated on the surface, but therein lies tremendous potential. So what's happening is the world's largest Bitcoin miner is restructuring toward Bittensor. That's how big Barry Silbert is. He controls the world's largest Bitcoin miner, multi-billionaire investor. He was early to Bitcoin, and now he's early to Tau. And so here's a glimpse at the Bittensor ecosystem. It is right now 64 subnets. That's expected to go to thousands of subnets. So what is Tau? What is Bittensor? It's essentially like Bitcoin, but instead of Bitcoins being used to incentivize miners to solve hash problems, which secure the network, but don't actually solve practical real world problems with the computing power they use. They solve the Bitcoin hash rate, but what they could be doing with that computing power is solving real world problems or creating the most advanced AI on the planet. That is what Bittensor is doing. Now, obviously, it's super lofty goals, but the fact is, what is Bitcoin? It's a chain reaction in cyberspace. It's unstoppable. It's a monetary network, and it's growing exponentially. It's unstoppable at this point. It's decentralized. Bittensor is also decentralized, and it's growing exponentially, which means the AI that it's creating is getting more and more and more and more advanced. And the supply of Bittensor is fixed. So as the network grows, which it is, again, a huge ecosystem, 64 subnets, as the network grows, the demand for the Tau token also grows. Because what we can do with the Tau token is decide where the future Tau emissions flow. Remember, Bitcoin emissions, Bitcoin inflation is used to pay miners to secure the network. Tau inflation is used to pay miners to solve the biggest problems on the planet, right? So this is an open source way of creating the most advanced machine learning and AI systems on the planet. That sounds fantastical, right? There's no way we're going to compete with big tech, but the fact is they are competing with big tech. We've covered that on this channel in a lot of different videos. They are competing with big tech, and the network is growing exponentially. And as the price of Bittensor rises, the token Tau, as that rises, the budget goes up. Right now, the budget, the amount of value of tau emissions is over $1 billion per year. It's somewhere between $1 and $2 billion per year. That is the budget that the tau network has right now to play with. Imagine $1 billion every single year that you're paying to the world's smartest people to create the world's greatest technology. So as the price of tau rises, the value of the tech rises. That is why Barry Silbert, a huge player in this space, is massively bullish, because we're already seeing some of the most valuable technology on the planet being created. And here's just one example of what is going on Bittensor. So the Dippy app currently serves a rapidly growing user base of 280,000 plus monthly active users. In November, the app will be powered by the open source model from our Bittensor subnet 11, bringing the power of tau to millions, right? Just one app bringing tau to 10 million plus users. So as the most advanced tech on the planet is created in an open source, decentralized way, there's going to be a huge amount of apps leveraging it, and there already are. So what's another crypto asset that's scheduled to grow exponentially in the future Raoul Pal is painting? It has to be ICP. Again, we're only going to talk about 3 today. The whole AI agent sector on top of massive blockchains like Solana, the Virtuals of the world, the AI16Zs of the world, the Send AI funds of the world. There's a whole bunch of those, right? But today we're only talking about 3 assets that are going to benefit massively from this new world that we're entering, right? The 4th or 5th industrial revolution. Because in this new world that's dominated by AI, again, digital scarcity becomes valuable. Blockchains provide digital scarcity. There's going to be many different use cases for blockchain technology: digital ID, verifying humanness, real world asset tokenization. Again, trillions of dollars of value moving on chain. Decentralized compute, the ability to harness the world's compute resources very efficiently, very inexpensively, and provide that compute to artificial intelligence. The ability to host artificial intelligence models in a secure, tamper-proof way, an unhackable way. That's another massive benefit of blockchain technology. It's security. And so there's only one platform that can currently host in an almost infinitely scalable way some of the most advanced tech on the planet without a massive big tech company, and that is ICP, the world computer. So for the first time, we're able to own a global supercomputer that is attached to a blockchain that is infinitely scalable and unhackable, right? This global world computer is called ICP. It's the only blockchain asset that can stand alone without big tech. Every other blockchain asset needs big tech at this point to power the compute, the storage operations. Again, a global supercomputer attached to a blockchain. The world does not understand how valuable blockchain technology is and how important it will be in the new AI world yet, but it's starting to wake up to it. Look at the monthly revenues on the internet computer skyrocketing. March 2024, nothing. January 2025, massive, right? It is climbing the ranks among crypto assets in terms of the revenues it is generating. We've covered how it is a top 10 asset right now in terms of the revenues it is generating. That is what matters when looking at these assets. Adoption. We're seeing a huge spike in adoption. There's so many different apps being built, so many different teams building on the world computer, right? And that's proven with the revenue. So as long as we keep seeing a massive uptick in adoption of this world computer, then it has a very important place in this world that needs digital scarcity, needs digital ID, needs compute, an infinite amount of computing power, and needs a blockchain. And so all that matters at the end of the day are on-chain fundamentals. The on-chain fundamentals of this blockchain are skyrocketing, right? So that's 3 different powerhouse assets that should skyrocket in value in the future Raoul Pal is painting.
I've hyper concentrated because I'm like, okay, this is the greatest macro risk taking opportunity of all time. And we've been given a gift of these assets. And I'm going to do that, which is very, very contrary to what people say you should do. But if you're not beating the 8% is what the global growth in liquidity is, plus let's call it average 3% inflation, whatever the number is, right? That's an 11% hurdle rate. Yeah. The S&P 500 does about 13% a year. You barely beat it. So you're basically treading water. So you're going to have to do better than 11% to even get richer. And the issue is your income is going up by roughly GDP, while the assets you want to buy, and the asset is future deferred consumption. So it's your future self getting richer, and thank you for buying these assets. They're going up at global debasement or above. And then you've got technology. So the Nasdaq's doing, if the S&P is doing about 13%, the Nasdaq's been about 17, 18%. Okay, so that's starting to compound some actual returns. And then, as I said, Bitcoin has compounded since 2012, 150%. So it forced me to hyper concentrate, which I never thought I'd do. Because I'm a student of, diversified baskets of things. And, at this point in the business cycle, you own commodities. And at this point, you own emerging markets. And at this point, you own, I'm like, you're kind of in it or you're kind of out of it. And that's there is on, off.
The whole purpose of this channel is to make life-changing returns by being an early-stage investor in revolutionary technology. What Raoul Pal just said, and it's very true, the only way to really change your life in the coming years is to be invested in the assets that do a better return and offset the amount of monetary debasement that's going on. So if the currency is being devalued at 8% per year, but the scarcest assets, the most valuable, the most revolutionary assets on the planet are growing at 20+% a year, and you hold those scarce assets, then you're on a life raft that will increase your wealth over time. If you're in an asset that doesn't outpace the currency debasement of 8, 10, 11% per year, then you're treading water. You're not growing your wealth, right? So yes, the big tech companies might do okay. The S&P 500 might do okay, but our job is life-changing returns. That's why we covered those 3 breakthrough revolutionary assets that should only grow in adoption over time.